Welcome back. Let's play Outer Edge. I'm just doing a quick update here on this one as a prelude to no commentary later tonight, with a bit of explanation. I've been exploring this system close to my main's original home system with the planet Kainadren, and in the process have found a world that I have named Mavo Arna, which is arid, desert-like, but has no predatory creatures, and so in that sense is ideal for exploration, even if it's not the most attractive environment, even though it's a bit sparse. I've been exploring it. I've been looking around. I got the quest for anti-meta recipe on this world, and in fact the facility you see in the distance, that manufacturing facility, is the site of that recipe. But I learned something the hard way last night when I went there to go ahead and grab it to be ready to explore at my leisure, which is that once you grab the antimatter recipe, all the rest of your pins in the system disappear, presumably as a prelude for you to take off for other systems and greater sites beyond. Now, needless to say, I am nowhere close to done in this system. I have a moon up here where I have discovered not one but two portals within a couple of miles of each other, and I've got them pinned and mapped as well as I can, even though I actually can only reliably find my way back to one of them at this point. So I have a lot more to do there, and needless to say, losing all those pins, which is currently the state of the game when, I mean, I had already heard when you leave a system you lose your pins, but apparently when you accept your antimatter quest you lose your pins as well, making the system you've been exploring, if you've been doing it the way I have, and trying to actually nail down particular sites, you know, useless to you. So I'm not going to do that yet. Instead, I'm going to go back to the original method and premise of the Outer Edge series, which is to explore systems, starting systems, far from the center of the galaxy by going back to earlier saves and exploring them through hyperjumps. I've got what I call a golden save of this location right here, right now, which is not as pristine as I would prefer. Namely, last night I went to this site. I think I'm going to fly that way because the one thing I really have to do here is actually that way. So let's go ahead and just take to the sky for a few minutes here. Just talk about the situation. So, last night when I discovered this, I had trouble during one of the runs breaking through the facility door before the sentinels took me out, and as a result I got a grave. I got a death in a grave, and I had to plumb that grave to get my materials back, my inventory back. That's not ideal for a golden save. I mean, it's not a pristine state, but I was able to back up at least to that, and so in the sort of chaos, I ended up replacing my gold master save with the save where I had died. So at this point, I've got the save I have now from that platform up above, where I have found a really good exchange rate on bypass chips, and I have this location mapped. And so in this save, I've basically backed up. I've retrieved my materials before breaking into the facility, and have backed up to, you know, to not enter the facility, but instead go back and save this point. All of this because I really need to preserve this dual monolith, or I mean this dual portal location here. And I guess really what I'm hoping for is a future patch of the game that allows you to save your in-system pins even when you leave the system, and ideally even when you get quests that push you out of the system, your early quests. That may be a fool's errand, and if so, I have a few choices, actually. If so, I have a few choices. As you'll notice, I have, obviously I was able to get here with my existing hyperdrive charge. I have a couple of warp cells already built, and here I have some antimatter. I have, I can find electron vapor, I can build it, I can craft it. Everything up to crafting antimatter itself, which I cannot do without the recipe. But there is another way, of course, to get antimatter, which is to find a location where you can purchase it. Now, that antimatter I have in my inventory now. I picked up at a landing pad, I would say about halfway. In fact, that's probably good if I remember 25 minutes to the site or 30 minutes to the site. About halfway there. Making a beeline from the location where I began. So I have this idea that if I can identify a reliable landing pad on which to purchase antimatter, I can actually delay taking or rather fulfilling this antimatter crafting quest indefinitely in order to explore systems without losing my pin. Now, if it is true that you lose your pins whenever you leave a system, and I suspect that is the case, then I'm stuck here until and unless that's fixed in a future patch. I think it's not unreasonable to think that it might be. You know what? I'm going to land right here because right now my goal is to locate a trading pad where I can reliably purchase antimatter that's closer than the one over there that's far away. I have some reason to believe that things, I'm not even going to bother with the save flag until I see whether or not I can purchase antimatter here. I have some reason to believe that the situation at the trading terminal from station to station is similar to one another because I've seen the exchange rate for bypass chips remain very stable at that location. Here I check this one and I do not see antimatter as a purchase option, so I'm going to simply assume that it is not. I guess it's always nice and always a good idea to check the exchange rate on good old ever versatile bypass chips to see if anything can beat 5.6%. In this case, it certainly... wait! Oh, that's for sell. Okay, that's sell. So, this is not the place for me. I will head on. And, in a way I'll be able to test this, assuming I can actually find my way back to the trading pad that was roughly in between the facility and... and my kind of home base at this point, that really tall mountain that has a trading post on top of it, that I have been able to map reliably. It's taken me quite a while to develop a mapping technique that's reliable, but I really do feel at this point that I have one. Particularly, having tested that through exploration of the moon Duo up above me, where I've been able to reliably return to at least one of the two portals pretty confidently. So, if I can determine that the trading post, or not trading post, but trading pad, landing pad, in between these two sites does sell antimatter, that will at least give me a place to land, possibly even save a new golden save, so that later tonight I can do a no commentary exploring a new system. Now, my method for doing that in the Outer Edge series is to revert to an earlier save of this character, back on the original world of Kaina Dren, which is my favorite world that I've found in the game so far. A world I do not want to lose. And a moment where I had discovered a crashed ship of the other type of ship, the other class of ship, which is a freighter, that I want to be able to switch to if I ever wish it. So I want to be able to return to that world anytime, and I want to be able to landing pad. I'm going to go ahead and land just in case, and I want to be able to choose that ship if I so desire. I can do that, both of those things, from that save. And so what I'll do is revert to that place later tonight. In fact, that's where I'll start out. And I will explore a system I have not been to near this one and near the ones I've explored so far from there. And my goal in those is to very quick mapping, really searching for another Korvax system, because those are the ones whose lore I'm most interested in, and determining whether or not there are any worlds there more desirable than the ones I found. Okay, here I am, and no antimatter. Now, it could be that antimatter comes and goes. That's something that I haven't, been able to figure out. But because the exchange rate stayed stable at my prior site. That's interesting. I've got a little pin over there. No, don't crash. Oh, you've got to be